Harley Davidson. Cosplay for dads.
Harley Davidson.
The reviews are back in the United States of I Ride a Harley Davidson. I fly both the Union and Confederate flags from the back of my dresser without knowledge of the symbolic contradiction. Harley Davidson. Brought to you by endlessly renewing my paper motorcycle permit because I'm too chicken shit to take the MSF course. Harley Davidson Electra. The official bike of walkie ridey all the way to 8 miles an hour because I don't know how to balance at low speeds. FLHTC, time to join all my friends and put on our bad guy outfits. Yeah, I'm gonna smoke a $10 cigar while I ride too. Yeah. I love the look of a brown turd coming out of my gray mustache and O-face while I unnecessarily rev match approaching every red light. Time to set off all the car alarms and rattle the living room windows on my way out of town, but it's okay because I'm wearing a black thin blue lined t-shirt with the sleeves cut off. So you can see my AR-15 tattoo I got in Daytona Beach, Florida on January 21st, 2009. 1990 Harley Davidson FLHTC, as American as low voter turnout. This bike comes with the Evolution or Evo motor, right? Sup Mitsubishi. It's an air-cooled 45-degree V-twin rated at 1,340 cc's. Although the air filter specifies 80 cubic inch displacement, close enough. Although the factory displacement is supposed to be closer to 82 cubic inches, whatever. The Evo was supposedly the first Harley engine developed using computer-aided design, which meant lower fuel consumption and more horsepower and torque. Right, more horsepower. Also, the cast aluminum heads and cylinders of previous engines were replaced with lighter aluminum components, which had the side effect of improving air cooling. All of this was a changeover from the shovelhead engine, which was used from 1966 to 1984. But it was a welcome change, considering that this is the engine credited with saving Harley Davidson from going under after buying out a previous owner, the American Machine and Foundry, all the AMF Harleys. This is because, much like Chrysler's K platform, the Evo engine proved to be a versatile layout. Harley used the Evo on multiple frames from the Dana to the Softail to the FXR to the Touring. Of course, this Harley Davidson has a host of weird differences from your typical motorcycle. For instance, there is a second ignition switch rather than a cigarette lighter, in addition to the starter button, which is under the seat, which is always live. Instead of fixing a bunch of stuff, you put the little hidden starter button down there. Yeah, I've seen that on all sorts of motorcycles. But you still need the key to turn the electrics on. And there's also this blue dotted rear light for some reason. Supposedly, according to the owner, it's a vintage hot rodder mod of some kind. The idea was that if you put a blue lens right in the middle of your taillight, when you pull on the brakes and the larger filament in the dual filament bulb in there lights up, some of the light will pass through the blue filter and make a slight purple hue, and that's supposed to be more visible to drivers at night. I don't know. Another strange quirk is the gremlin bell fitted to this bike. It's a small bell underneath, which is intended to keep road gremlins away. Basically, it's a chrome and brass-plated bell for warding off evil road spirits, and it's not that different from the religious jewelry you'll see hanging from a rear-view mirror in the Rust Belt. It just sounds sillier because it shares a name with a movie where a girl's dad dresses up as Santa and gets stuck in the chimney and then dies there only for his rotting corpse to come falling down like a giant lump of naughty kid coal. Jingle bells. A lot of work goes into keeping this bike roadworthy. For example, you don't just have one oil change, you have 3. Primary, transmission, and engine. And in the same way all women hate Anne Hathaway, you're just bound to get that one motorcyclist who hates changing his own oil, especially when he has to do it 3 times. But that's just par for the course with a bike like this. The kind of guy who would rather cut his dick in half lengthways and spend an afternoon tinkering in the garage would probably never go for a Harley Davidson anyway. And the people who do go for Harleys aren't concerned with power. This 1.3 liter V-twin makes 64 to 67 horsepower. That's the same as the Daihatsu we reviewed. And it makes this power at 5,000 RPM and then it redlines at 5,500 RPM. This motorcycle revs lower than a car. But the point of a Harley Davidson engine is the same as a Ford 4.6 modular V8. It's a large, understressed engine that will just go on and on and on and on. Compression is 8.5 to 1, and it's a pushrod engine with a single cam and block, which is what you'd expect, but since it's a V-twin motorcycle engine, the pushrods are all coming off at weird angles because motorcycle blocks, like the block of each cylinder is offset at a weird angle because you need to get air cooling. And the whole weird thing that the rear cylinder, is hotter than the front one. Nah, that's not true. One is on one side a little bit, the other's on the other side, both get air. By the way, the Sportster engine, which this isn't, got around the weird pushrod angle problem by having 4 gear-driven camshaft down below the pistons. Each camshaft only had 1 lobe and was only responsible for 1 valve. And it wasn't until 1998 that Harley's big bikes got a twin cam and block design as a compromise between the Sportster 4-cam weirdness and the Evolution engine antiquity. I'm having trouble finding torque numbers for this single cam Evo engine, but if this bike can haul a Dependopotamus around on the back, it's probably enough. Harley Davidson's brand image is simultaneously rebellious and the establishment. Are you an outlaw or are you a cop? You don't get to be both. And yet this brand found a way. A Harley rider could slide his thick hand down the front of your trousers in front of a courthouse with the judge, Jesus, and the chief of police all watching, and there isn't a goddamn thing you can do about it because Harley Davidson has its nepotistic talons clamped around America's moral code, and they get away with anything. Punch your wife, disown your gay son, and ride off into the sunset, flanked by soldiers and politicians saluting you with stars in their eyes and bulges in their pants. The riding position is neutral, and the forgiving suspension lets the miles roll by. My butt dyno tells me peak torque comes on at 2,800 RPM, makes highway pulls and merging easy. Usually only 1 gear drop is necessary. Can you enjoy a Harley without succumbing to the imagery? I don't know. And it's fitting that this is a Harley Davidson, this is a Canadian Harley. Yeah, did you notice that yet? Yeah. I asked the owner, well, how do they sell these things in Canada? I mean, because they can't just fly the American flag. And he said, well, no, they don't do that. But they just concentrate on Harley's legacy. Ride the legend and stuff like that. It's a damn comfortable motorcycle. It wasn't for regular car reviews, but I rode a Fat Boy. And man, it was the most comfortable bike I've ever been on. Harley Davidson knows how to make a really, really nice cruiser. And that's what the owner was doing with this bike. He was going on a long, long road trip. And you fit in nearly everywhere. Any diner, any gas station, no one's gonna mess with you when you're on a Harley. You're a good person, right? You are untouchable. You are with the inner crowd. But do I want one? Nah. Would I accept one if someone gave one to me? Maybe. See, the thing is, there's no high end at all. Yeah, peak power at 5,000, but that's 67 horsepower on a bike this big. What's fun about this is screwing the throttle all the way on in top gear. The engine makes an amazing sound, and you're still in control. And that's why all the Harley guys rev all the time. Because you can rev a Harley, and you're not going to get out of control, because the bike's so damn heavy and makes such small amounts of power, you aren't going to... I mean, if you did that on a leader bike, just rah, 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 going through town, that thing would want to pick its front wheel off the ground. But you can hoon, at least from a noise standpoint, on a Harley, and you're not going to die. The whole bike shakes and thumps and throbs and excites you. I've never driven a dresser before, and after 1 lap of the parking lot, I had it figured out. Harleys are easy bikes to ride. Yes, they're heavy, but they're heavy in all the right places. It's not a top-heavy bike. You can figure it out easy, easy, easy. And I wanted to keep riding this after the review was over. And in my head, I'm like, Let's ride the Carlisle. Let's ride the Philly. Let's do something. Let's go. Let's go for a long trip. That's what's exciting about these things. Harley Davidsons are incredibly good at eating the miles. And I get it. I understand Harleys. And if you own one, I understand it. But I don't know if I can get past the symbolism. Or maybe it's this. Maybe the same issue I have with Harley Davidsons is the same issue I have with God. I got no problem with God. It's his fan club I can't stand.
Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a Harley Davidson. Everywhere you look, when you want that heat between your legs, without even having to